Welcome to Around the Bases, the pop culture and sports podcast with your host,
Carly Seymour.
and I'm Tim Sternberg. Hit it, Nick. We are back. I am in the warmth of South Florida. How are you doing, buddy?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. Had a great little trip to New York. We'll talk about
Yeah,
that later
you had
on.
to suffer in the 30, 40-degree temps.
20. What are you talking
20.
about?
Oh no.
So
How did you
cold.
survive?
Who lives like this? Who lives? I was up there like, who lives like this? What is
Baby
this?
diapers.
Oh,
What?
really? Really? What?
Oh
What?
yeah. You're fine. It's not that cold.
Baby diapers. Oh, here we go.
Like
Here we
45,
go.
46 in Chicago the last few days, and it's been a heat wave
Ugh,
for us. Heat
what is
wave.
that?
Been beautiful.
I know there are some of our listeners who are maybe living in Ohio, for example, or somewhere else. They're like,
Wisconsin.
are you Wisconsin? Yes. Shout out Nicholas. Seriously. I I don't know. I don't understand. No, I used to live in New
We're
Jersey and New
we're home
York.
stretch. We're home stretch. We're almost done.
It's the
We're almost
reason
done with
why
it.
I. It's the reason why I'm a Met fan is because that speaking of that, and we'll talk about this later. We're getting very close to pitchers and catchers, so that's a
It
good
is.
thing.
It is. Groundhog's Day is Sunday. Hopefully
What is
he
that?
hopefully he does not see his shadow and then we get it fast. Isn't that how it
What
works?
what's Groundhog Day? I don't know what that is.
Are you joking? I can't tell. I know
It's
you're
a
joking.
movie. I thought it was a movie with Bill Murray,
It
right?
is
Something
about
happens
the
over.
holiday. See, you get it. You understand. If you know the movie,
I
you
know.
know.
Listen, well, because I live in a tropical climate, so I don't care about shadows and
I
stuff.
guess.
All right. Anyway, how you doing, buddy? You good?
Good, good.
I guess we should start talking about other things other than the weather. On tonight, it's 52 degrees in Chicago, and
That's
it's
pretty good. We'll
44 in
take it.
Evanston, and
Yeah, we'll
it's
take that.
all right. Speaking of chili, I will say. How about that for a transition?
That's pretty good.
The Traitors.
Yeah. Lot of
Ooh.
chilliness going on in tonight's episode.
Where do we start? Where do you want to start?
Well, I guess we could start with who they eliminated.
So there was a murder. I can't do that justice. I can't do the Scottish. But there was a murder, and the murder was the Biggest Loser coach.
Poor Bob.
Bob Harper was murdered.
And a bunch of
Um,
people were upset about it.
Bob, you know, if I ever, and first of all, I have to get on a reality show. This is how this works, folks. You have to get on a reality show, kind of be sort of famous, and then get on Traitors. So if I ever get through that process and get on Traitors, one thing that if you're on the show, you should be very keenly aware of. Almost always, the last three people to enter the room are the three that the Traitors are thinking about murdering. So am I right? Like it's almost
Although
always.
Danielle came in as one of the last.
Well, they sometimes put a traitor in there too.
Yeah.
Yes. Interesting. I don't know. Like, what kind of gravitate to stuff? I'm a conspiracy theorist to begin with, but
Yeah.
I would kind of gravitate to that. So, Bob, but hey, listen, I didn't understand. I thought somebody else should be murdered, and the person who actually was banished, I thought should be murdered. That's me. So that's interesting how that kind of worked out. But we'll talk about banishment in a minute. But yes, Bob Harper was murdered, and so fast forward, we have a challenge that they have to do. And the challenge, well, it was silly, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I
I
mean, I think that they either did a poor job editing or they failed and rigged it because I did not think that they were anywhere near winning. And there's
You
no way
said
that
that.
last one, them coming back, had enough. But I guess that's neither here nor there.
So the challenge, folks, basically was there was a gigantic traitor statue thing, and that was set on top of like a charger, and they had to get a certain amount of dynamite powder, gunpowder, to blow it up. And if they were able to blow it up and knock it down, they would get $30,000 added to the pot.
When it was all or nothing.
All or nothing. So they couldn't, like, it couldn't tip a little bit. It had to either tip over or not. So of course, everyone kind of pairs up. There's groups. And interesting, am I right that each trader was in a different group?
No, there were three
Oh,
groups. One group had one traitor, one group had two, and one group had zero.
okay. So you paid
Danielle and
more
Carolyn were
attention.
together
God, oh
because
God.
they kept looking at each other at the thing, and
Oh,
yeah,
that's a whole storyline in this episode. Anyway, anywho, so they're all like, first thing they do, of course, is they go for the shields, to protect.
everybody does.
Hmm. And
Half the time is gone, and they don't have anything towards the challenge,
so
but they've got three shields.
I can just see you, Charlie. You're like, what's going on here? Like, what are we doing? And
Yeah,
then, of course, magically it blows up, and then Charlie's like, I call foul.
yeah, flag on the play.
That's the tough thing about reality TV. You don't know how much time is actually elapsing as you're watching this because of the way they edited it.
But for them to
Uh,
show where it was with like the final, they're all whatever they're carrying. There's no way.
yeah, yeah, no way. Absolutely, I agree. Um, so they do bank the $30,000 into the pot. Who gets the shields?
They two of the three groups played rock paper scissors for it, and the third group, remember, Carolyn just grabbed it before Derek could get it,
She's
and
so
that was
nasty.
yeah.
She's so nasty.
Um, so the recipients were, as we said, Carolyn. Then Dylan won it with his. Remember, he's a master of rock paper scissors, and then he tells the story of how he won a tournament of 100 people. So he's got skills for that. And then the other one was another rock paper scissors. I actually think it was either Dolores or Chriselle. One of them, I think, won it. I can't remember who, but one of them.
Oh my God. I mean, it's almost like the shields are nice. I guess it's good for individual immunity, but really at the end of the day, the murder is going to happen. I guess the trick with this is that well, I mean, that's what I think it would be better if your traders to spread to different teams because each one would know who has the shield and
Right,
then, right. But anyway, we don't know necessarily everybody who has the shield. So, no, we know, but I'm saying the traders don't know
right. Although
necessarily.
they only need one person to be friends with one person on that one team to say who got it.
Exactly, which is easy because
Yeah,
you still have, well, for now you have three traders.
and they have
Uh,
plenty to pick from the two teams that aren't the three of them.
so there is a Derek from Big Brother is getting wind. He's so good at
Yeah,
these. I remember him from Big Brother. I remember why he won. I didn't like the fact that he won. I wasn't rooting for him that season. For it was
it'll
I
be
wasn't
interesting
rooting.
to see if they decide to keep him or not post
I
this episode.
right. I
Because I
wasn't.
mean, if they do it, it'll look like it was Rob. It'll be obvious. So
Mhm. I don't think he can. I don't think he can be murdered.
yeah, I don't think so
I
either. I think he has to take out someone different who voted without it making look too suspicious.
I agree. Going real quick back to Big Brother. I was not rooting for him or Cody because I was actually a fan of, I forget her name, but the one who later on won, the blonde, the one they really screwed over in that season. I don't remember
That
who,
was
but
before I started watching.
yeah, okay. Anyway, I was not rooting for them at all, but of course, it's always the people I don't root for. But now I'm watching him in Traitors. Wow, I can really see he's a cop. I mean, he's good at what he does.
Yeah,
And so he has Rob pegged. Ooh, does he have Rob pegged? And he is absolutely right, as we know.
he gives good
Um,
info too. He sold a bunch of people. A
he
couple people
did.
said they specifically that he sold them.
Our buddy Wes Bergman was pretty convinced that
Yeah,
it was Rob. He didn't know if he should rock the boat.
he just didn't go about it the best way.
Did not. Did
No, and
not.
then I don't think he helped himself at the end of his speech too.
No.
It put a lot of people off the wrong way.
we got the House of Villains version of Wes Bergman, I'll say, during
He
that
was fresh
speech.
off of it, you think, and then
Yeah,
he
he
just
was
kind of
like
leaned into it.
he excuse my language.
Was
He
this
gave
filmed
he gave
after
no.
you said?
It was. This was filmed after House of Villains and after the Worst Cooks in America was filmed first, House of Villains, and then Traitors. You know,
Wow, he had a
he could
busy
get
few months.
he had a busy 2024.
Yeah,
He could not give two fucks though, right? I mean, he's like, okay, whatever, fuck you all. He gave the drop the bird. Well, we'll get there
yeah.
in a minute. But Carolyn, speaking of not giving two fucks. Carolyn, who is a lot of people's favorite player. Hi, Mike. How are you? Shout out.
Can I, before you get into the Carolyn
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
can I
yeah.
ask if you regret now not having watched the season
Oh
beforehand?
my God, do I?
I,
Let me tell you, I need to watch that Survivor season because that must be some crazy shit.
I'm telling you, I'm
Jesus.
telling you, it's you could
Dude,
binge
she's
it before the next
before
probably
the
two
current.
episodes. Yeah, be close.
Oh my God. I'm like, I can't. So we see, you know who she is. I see her in a Scottish castle all done up. I cannot imagine the nuttiness on an island without food. That's what I'm saying. I
Yeah, yeah,
cannot.
exactly,
At
exactly.
tribal
This is
council,
her in a castle with food and everything that they need at all times in a bed. Yeah, exactly. Now
she
you get it.
is certifiably insane.
Yeah,
Like she has the googly eyes, and I don't.
crazy
So
eyes.
crazy eyes. Hey, big brother, shout out, Matt. But let me ask you a question because you've been witness to Carolyn a lot longer than I have. Do
Mm-hmm.
you think it's an act, or is that actually who she
No,
is?
that's her. That's her. That's why it was only like
Oh,
2 or 3 episodes in of this season. But remember, someone like initially kind of brought her up, but then so many
mhm.
people were like, "No, dude, she's acted just as crazy before and after they picked the traitor because that's just
Oh
who
my
she is."
God. Oh my
So
God, dude.
kind of
It's
worked
like
out in that regard.
she is absolutely wackadoodle. Like,
Yeah,
and I mean it in actually the greatest way. She makes amazing television,
and it
especially
plays to her advantage in this crazy game too.
it does, but let me tell you, she's going after my girl, Danielle. Now Danielle didn't do some things. Danielle shouldn't have started dropping her name. I don't know what the hell she was thinking. And then she says, I'm gonna go back and make it better the next day and does absolutely nothing about that. Remember? She in the
Yeah,
turret, she's like, oh
I
no.
will say though, the things that then get brought up were still things she said the original time. It just hadn't gotten back to her
Right.
yet.
But you do not see at least in the edit, you do not see Danielle making up for it. You don't
Right,
see
right.
like, and my wheel started turning. Like, how would I fix this? And I would say, oh, I was so mistaken about Carolyn. You know, she's not.
We
Yeah,
squashed it.
but she didn't do any.
No, and then she doubled down, maybe even
And,
tripled.
and so we're gonna get to the face off. I will call it in the turret in a minute at the end of the episode. Um, but so we get to a most interesting roundtable.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Guns are firing in all directions, especially at three specific targets. Actually four, I will say. Guns are firing at Wes Bergman. Guns are firing at Boston Rob. Guns are firing at Danielle. A little less guns. We'll talk about that in a second. And guns are firing at that dude, the dude from
Um,
the Bravo dude.
Tom Sandoval.
Tom, thank you, Tom.
And don't forget Carolyn had some gunshots her way too.
She did. Um, I so Derek is sure that like I said, Boston Rob is a traitor. There's a little interaction. So you got the big brother clique of Danielle, Derek, and Brittany, and a very strong big brother clique. I don't think I've seen that before on this show. Um, Brittany and Derek. Now there's let me backtrack a little bit. There's a solid, they're all different seasons of Big Brother. The reason why they're so solid is because Derek and Cody have a podcast about Big Brother that they pull all the Big Brother players in. I forget the name of it. So he has really great relationships with everybody on Big Brother. And so that's kind of the prefaces of how he has these relationships. And so he and Brittany were talking, and now Brittany is like, "Oh no, no, no! It can't be Boston Rob." I don't know why Brittany was defending him, but anyway, it can't be Boston Rob. And so then when Brittany says this to Derek, Derek's thoughts now kind of start floating to Brittany being a traitor also. Because why
And
would
then he
she
says it
defend
to her.
Boston Rob? Right. And she, no, she gets all Brittany defensive. And I'll be honest with you, he did make a point. He said, if you've ever watched Brittany on Big Brother, she is not a quiet person. And that is
Right.
absolutely true. She don't
Hmm.
bullshit shit. And she's been extremely quiet on that. Like almost to the point where is she on the show? Like
I feel like it's probably because she feels like a smaller fish in a bigger pond in this one, you know?
I agree with you. Which is not a bad
No,
strategy
not bad. She's
necessarily.
yeah, just kind of just don't want to draw too much attention to the people who would only notice that, like Derek.
Right. And so Derek has his thoughts. Wrong Big Brother contestant, Derek. Derek has his thoughts on Brittany, also on Rob. Wes has to now turn towards Boston Rob because Boston Rob is directing stuff. It's like a whole like kind of, and then
Hmm.
of course the Bravo people are going after Tom because there was a lot of baggage there. Apparently, I don't know a lot about the story. And Carolyn is going after Danielle, which I think was the stupidest move of the entire episode. If you
Yeah.
see there's a bigger fire being brought up,
Yeah, I know. I
shut
thought
the
the same
hell
thing.
up.
Yeah, you could have skated under the radar another week.
At least you can bring it up next week, but God, just because you knew anybody sitting at that round table knew that it was going to be one of the big fish that goes. It was going to
Yeah.
be one of those. It was basically like the old gunfight at the OK Corral where they have the duel, and it's one person's going to receive the bullet, one person's going to shoot the bullet, and it was just a matter of time of who was who. And of course, Rob doesn't go down without a fight. Rob will like
Uh, I thought I thought Rob made a pretty good composed case.
very
Enough
much.
so where a lot of people bought it.
He was calm, like you said, he was composed. He just kind of went through, I don't think it's this. And I feel like, and I don't know how you feel. When you're rational and you throw out a composed and you're not emotional,
Hmm.
people start to go, well, wait a minute. He's not emotional, so he's not kind of super defending himself, being called a traitor. I thought it was brilliant. You could tell he has experience with it.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. I actually think he's playing a better game here than he did in Dondi last year. I think Dondi he was a little all over the place and
Hmm.
emotional. I think here he is not. I think here he's pretty controlled. And to the point where how is he becoming the most rational person in the turret, which he is.
Yes,
Um,
he's the only one that didn't vote against the traitor, and now he comes out
yes.
looking like roses again.
That brings us to Danielle. Danielle, oh, I, I I'm starting my balloon is deflating a little. I used to think that Danielle was one of the most strategic Big Brother plays I've ever seen. But dude, she
Yes,
keeps
she's
making mistake
she's
after
played a
mistake.
very messy game.
Very sloppy.
Yeah,
You do not put Boston Rob's name down. What are you doing?
that was
She
not
should have
yeah.
it should have said Wes on her thing. Like that is the move. Or Carolyn, because Carolyn's going after her.
Hmm.
But you do not put Boston Rob's name down. And she's doing a horrible job of getting rid of the B that is Carolyn. Carolyn,
Yeah,
of course, goes after her, puts her name down, exposes her. I think Carolyn needs to watch her back because I don't think Danielle's going to sit down in the next episode and let her do this anymore. And she's
yeah,
probably going to come back guns blazing. And I don't think Carolyn's going to live long or prosper, if you know what I'm saying.
yeah.
Um, I don't know.
I, I,
So,
I will. I mean, it depends on how it's edited, but it does seem in this instance that Carolyn seems to have the numbers in that battle because multiple people have come to her telling her what Danielle said.
mm, that's a good point.
So I'm curious because Derek is now kind of, making some friction with Brittany. Will that also rub off on Danielle and the whole thing? So like he could be a big swing vote if it goes to them next week.
I think I
Do you
agree
think
with
the
you
Big Brother people will
actually.
stick together?
I'm honestly, as brilliant as Derek is, I think he needs to be careful. I think
Yeah.
I think he needs to be careful. Like I don't think he's going to be murdered next, but I think once the dust settles, they're aiming
Who
if
would
they're
you
still
put
in the
as your
game
candidates for murder?
and for this week,
Yeah.
my top candidate would be Dylan Efron because Dylan, it seems like he is playing a game close
Don't
to.
don't forget though, he can't be murdered. He has a shield.
Well, yeah, not this. Fine, not this week. But Dylan is playing a game very much like you remember Peter from The Bachelor.
Yep.
So similar.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh my God,
Dylan voted for West though, did he not?
he did.
Okay. So for this specific vote,
But for this specific vote,
who you think's in the running?
I think I would have went for Wes. I would have went for
Okay, but
Wes.
Wes
I
is
mean,
gone.
yeah. Oh, for the next vote.
The turret right now.
Oh, for murder,
Yes, correct.
not a housewife. I think Lord Van Botten is one possibly. Whatever his name is.
Ivor.
Ivor. Um, I don't know if
Because it's
Ivor.
gotta be, so out of the
What
five
do you
people
think?
voted,
I was turning the
five
question on
voted for
you.
Rob. Okay.
Yeah,
Derek is way too obvious.
you
I think
can't
that
do
blows
Derek.
up Rob's game. So now you're down to four people who voted
Yeah.
for Rob. One of the four is Danielle, so it can't be her. Now we're down to three who voted for Rob.
Who do we got?
So
'Cause
that
I don't
leaves us
remember.
with, I think Gabby might have voted Rob. I think she swung. I
I
didn't
don't
think
think I don't think Gabby's a vote though. I don't think she's
so.
that
Okay, so she's
important.
one. So that leaves only two other people that voted for Rob. Did Tom vote? Tom voted Wes, or did Tom vote Rob? I think Tom voted Wes.
Tom voted Wes.
So that only I can't remember who the other
And
Rob votes were.
Brittany
Someone
voted
early,
Wes. Yeah.
or did Brittany flip and not Gabby?
No, Brittany voted Wes.
She did.
Yeah.
Okay. So I feel like it makes sense in this scenario. Rob is going to want one of the five. Two of them are off limits. So I think it has to be a lesser Rob vote just to help with the numbers. So that way, if Derek tries to do it again, now there's even less people that would team up, so to
Yeah.
speak. So I think I don't know. I don't think because Danielle and Carolyn want each other. They're at each other's throats. So at this point, they've already been kind of following Rob's leadership in the turret. He can say, "You guys voted for me and each other. I'm the only one that didn't vote for a traitor, so we
He
can vote."
actually says that.
Yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
glad he did. I said during the commercial, I said to Rosie, I said, Rob better bring that up. Like use that as a look. He's turning into the hero all of a sudden. So
Like I
yeah,
said, Danielle's been making a bunch of mistakes. Her voting for Rob was the stupidest thing. Like I don't know what she was thinking even when she
yeah,
said what she said when she put her vote down face down on the table. I was like, oh, she's voting for Wes because that makes the most sense. And when she lifted her vote and it said Rob, I'm like, I literally slapped myself in the head. I'm like, what is going on? Um, so yeah, our buddy Wes Bergman, most recently from House of Villains and Worst Cooks in America, is now going off to Worst Cook somewhere else because he was just kicked out of the castle. He's murdered, as they say. No, he was banished. Sorry, he wasn't banished. He was
banished.
banished. He wasn't
Yeah,
murdered. Um, ooh, facts matter. Um, how about that? Facts matter, right? But yeah, so that is we look forward to. I agree with you, by the way. You said something to me in text earlier about how you wish that almost was a double. This is definitely an episode which I wish was a double episode because I seriously wanted to see the continuation of that turret conversation. I honestly, you have Danielle and you have Carolyn who are literally going after each other. And this that if Rob has any control, he has to stop that now. Because if they continue to go after each other, it's gonna throw off everyone's game, including
Yep.
his. I
Mm-hmm.
think.
Agreed.
He needs to stop that shit. I don't know how he's gonna do it. Let's see. Let's see how he plays it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I love that show, man. It's still good in the third season.
Oh yeah. It's been a very, very messy season. And like you said, I think they knew what they were doing when they picked who they picked.
Although I need them to film soon because I can't wait until January of 26 to see another season. That's
Yeah.
too long. That's like, I don't know about you, but
Yeah, we still
come
got
like
plenty more to go. There are still 13 people
oh, I
left,
know. But
or
come
soon to be 13.
but I always like to think ahead. I don't I remember September, October, I get Big Brother depressed because Big Brother is ending. So that's kind of how I feel with Traitors. But yes, we still have a lot to go. Speaking of really interesting, good television, we have Beast Games, and I want to take a sidetrack real quick before we get into the episode to say this. A certain friend of ours and a certain former We Are Family, it's the ongoing theme. We Are Family. A We Are Family cast member of ours, Erica Coleman, was on a mini game episode on Mr. Beast's YouTube channel of Beast Games. So what Mr. Beast did was he brought back some of the although
20 of
I've
the
not.
people eliminated in the trapdoor competition.
Oh, is that the competition specifically?
I think so because they bring them back to the same place.
Dude,
So that's
she was eliminated in the first competition. Wow.
well, that was 500 of the 1,000 people. So
Yeah. So he brings Erica and 19 other contestants, including Simu
Sifu from
Sifu
Survivor.
from Survivor.
Yep.
That's crazy. So here they are. So they go through a series of tasks, which slowly eliminates as they go. I don't want to get really specific. Our girl Erica ends up as the final two, one of the final two, and holy shit.
She wins.
I did not. Dude, when Mike told us to watch it, I was like, okay, it's going to be cool to see Erica. When she kept going on, I'm like, I was
You're like,
literally
okay,
screaming
okay,
at the
when's it
TV.
gonna end? When's it gonna end?
So the final challenge is Erica and another young lady with their hands on a button. And it's similar to the challenge where they had the tower where they were counting up and the leaders could have taken it and eliminated their entire team. So the object of this game was only one person could win. If both of them keep their hands on the thing and the time runs out, the money falls.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Erica did some darn good convincing because the young lady at the last minute lifts her hand up and Erica
No, not
wins.
even the last minute. She did it quickly.
Oh, quickly.
Like 12 seconds into the minute. It was quick.
Erica wins.
Yeah.
What was the amount, Charlie? You remember?
500,000. Or no, well, technically it was 461, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
She
because
won.
one of the people hit the button at like 30 something thousand and then she got the remainder.
I think Erica won more on Beast Games than all of us won in combined in 10 episodes of We Are
Yeah.
Family.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
Holy crap. The
Yeah.
biggest winner on We Are Family was
Adam.
Adam at
Yeah,
$80,000.
83, something like that.
Wow. I want to tell a quick story real quick. When we finished We Are Family and we got home and I started, for those who might not know, I started doing a lot of the recording and videos and screenshots for everybody. And I started doing that. And out of the blue, I will say probably in like
I
February.
remember. It
Yeah,
was
because I
right
told you
before you
about it.
went. It was right around you when you went on your cruise.
Yes. She turns to me and she goes, we were chatting on Instagram and she goes, what's your Cash App? And I'm like, why? She goes, well, because I want to pay you for the shots.
Screenshots.
I said, no. I said, you're not going to do that. And she was like, no, I need your Cash App. And I'm like, no, it's okay. She's like, Tim, I need your cash. So I'm like, okay, fine. I send it, I give it to her. I'm like, oh, it'd be nice. She'll give me like 10, 20 bucks. I look at my Cash App because it's 100 bucks. She gave me 100 bucks for just doing screenshots. She says, go have a nice dinner with your wife. That is who she is. She
Yeah.
not prompted. She is, I'm being honest, one of the sweetest, kindest people from that's not in the True Crew. Um, just really kind and really just amazing. So when she won, I was legitimately happy for her. She's an I idolize her because she is so good at getting on other shows. She was on
Worst
Beast
cooks.
Games, Worst Cooks. She gets on like television projects. She's on a show right now that's on not Netflix, but another streaming app. BET. She's on a family business show, New Orleans. She does a lot of stuff. So you know what? Shout out Erica. Congratulations. I know you will
Yeah,
use that money in
she
good health.
deserved it.
She's a cancer survivor. Good for her. I'm very happy for her. Really good. Really awesome. So that brings us to the actual episode of Beast Games, which doesn't disappoint either. Um, we start the episode finding out what happens
Bye bye,
with the
Dino.
train. And you know what? Yes. Because what Dino did on that last episode was nasty. He literally, so imagine someone throwing you off a cliff and you literally take a rope and pull them with you. That's what he did.
Yeah.
And so Dino, so for those who might not remember, Dino was one of the four that in the tower challenge that
Turned down a
didn't
mill.
turn down a mill. So, you know, you already was like, oh, this is a good dude. I like this dude. Let's root for him, etc. He ended up not being the person we thought he was, because he kind of wasn't that guy. Um,
And then on top of that, after he goes, we have someone find a moment to use that, and then they're not the person that we maybe thought they were.
ooh, that made me most
That was
angry.
way worse, I thought. Way worse.
I
He
got
made Dino look like a
so
saint.
a total saint. I got so pissed. I'm gonna get to that challenge. So we're gonna go to a challenge now. So there's 10 players left. We have the final the 10.
And
They all go to
they vote first in order.
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, explain because you're much better
So
explaining than I am.
So yeah, so then and then I can't remember her name, but one of the other women who turned down the million, who then had to make some of the tough calls in the last round, she
I
got
love
voted
her.
first. That's who I'm rooting for
Love
the whole
her.
thing.
Me too. Me too. I love her.
She goes first, and then they pick a person one at a time, and then once they pick a person, then that person picks a person, etc. And basically, they're just ordered 1 through 10. So
Now,
second, yeah, go
can
ahead.
I interject real quick? So, and I know you're going to explain this, but there's $1 million that's in the middle of the city.
Yeah, they don't even
Logic.
know about the money yet. First, they're just
Okay.
ranking
All
them in
right. We'll
order,
get to the money.
putting
Go
them in
finish your.
houses.
All right. Finish
Yeah,
your.
they
I'm
get their
sorry.
own
I'm
little
sorry.
house. So she picks the guy who won a Grammy. Second, he then picks JC. Is that his name? 566, who we were talking
I'll
about.
never forget it, JC.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll never forget that name.
Then he picks his friend Emma, 4, and then so on and so forth, all the way through 10.
Hmm.
So then, as you just mentioned, they say everyone come back to the middle, and then they pull off the tarp, and in there is $1 million. He says, from this point forward, you are no longer allowed to talk to anybody, and you must go back into your house, and that's it. And they know nothing. Then starts out, well, okay, each of you will go one at a time, and you'll be able to take however much you want out of it.
Now, this is where I wanted to interject real quick. If you're a math guy, if you have 10 people, logically, and this is what the first person did, it would
100,000
think,
apiece. Simple.
wow, what a great dude. If you
Everybody
gave
gets
me
a
100
hundred,
grand
and you're still alive for the whole thing,
and you don't look like an asshole,
and you
sorry,
don't
I
have a
had to
target
say
on
it.
your back for the next challenge. Like, who knows what the next thing's gonna be?
So that is the plan in the first person's head, and that's what she does.
And that's
Go ahead.
and the only one before the other people got greedy, you also had someone who thought, "Oh, I don't want to take a dollar just in case this hurts my chances of the next one." You had someone who picked zero,
Yeah.
Patrick.
So can we talk? So the first person takes 100 grand. The second person, I call him Neck Tattoo Dude because I don't
Yeah,
remember his name.
he won a Grammy. That's what it shows every time it puts him up.
Oh, okay. He's like, you think, okay, he knows that she took
He
a
says,
hundred
as
grand.
soon as he kept saying, "I have a number in my head," I'm like, he's not. He's taking more than 100.
The dude takes 200 and something thousand dollars.
223.
What the freaking freak?
As
As
soon
soon
as
as he
he
said
did that,
that,
the dominoes started to
I was
fall.
like,
It's over.
bro. As soon as he did that, I was like, are you freaking kidding me? That's why I texted. The first thing I texted you was because Charlie had already watched it. The first thing I texted you is never trust a dude with a neck tattoo. And I'm like, what is going? I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this dude. But wait, there's more. God, dude. Charlie, can you explain to our wonderful viewers what happens next?
Oh well, then it's JC's turn after he had the audacity to call out Dino and do all that the whole episode
Big
before.
cocky motherfucker, right? Big cocky guy.
Not only does he take more than his fair share, and then way more than the guy before, he blows him. Not only that, he blows it out of the water, but Jimmy asks him flat out, "How much do you need for everything?"
Yes. And he said
He gives a
530?
number, 530. He gives a number, and then he still takes more than that.
What I can
He
What
took
the
he then took
freak?
everyone's equal original slice, 20% more of that on top of everything he needed. That was the that
Folks, he took over
he
$600,000,
took
folks.
650,
He took
which
six.
means out of $1 million, if everyone takes evenly, you'll be at 700,000 for player four. There was 27 grand left.
Bro, let me say this. I, I know it's just a game show. I know it's just a game show. But are you freaking kidding me?
It was
Like,
bad.
I honestly, listen, I've been on a couple of game shows. I have not always done well on a couple of game shows. At no point do I feel bad about that because people play fairly and they win and they do better
Mm-hmm.
than me, like Wheel of Fortune, and it's okay, right? It's just the way the cookie crumbles. But to be on this show and to know that JC took 600, and he openly admits it, by the way, he takes 600,
Not right away though.
not right away, no, but that he took that. You talk about, I was like, I revered him in the last episode. I was like, I like this guy.
Yeah.
To boom,
Yikes.
dude, what the heck, and
And
this
now the
show,
second guy, people don't even know, don't care really because it wasn't even that bad compared to him.
good for him, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
guess, but this show really is a psychological experiment on human behavior, but not the good side. And I
Yeah.
almost want to say not a very evolved human, I will say, because honestly, as much as I struggle, Charlie, and we all struggle with finances and whatnot, there is no way in heaven I would have ever taken more than my fair share. I would have done what later contestants would do and literally took the amount and divided it by the number of people remaining and took
Yep.
exactly my portion. Whether or not,
And they only got that because Patrick took zero after
which
Emma took her five.
which not such a bright decision as we'll find out in a minute, but
Or maybe it still will be. Maybe people will say, "Hey, he got nothing. He should
right.
move on to the final six."
So the next part of the challenge, or next challenge, I should say, they're all on the tower, and Mr. Beast has their money that they got in that previous challenge brought with them, and he says to them, he goes, "This is why the money is important because now you can use that money and that money only to bribe your fellow contestants not to eliminate you because we're gonna have votes. I don't care what they say, right? Here's my thought. JC is gone. It doesn't matter how much money he bribes.
And
I
he
don't
knows
I
it.
don't think he's gonna bribe. I think he's
No,
gonna be
he's just
like,
gonna say, "Fine, I'll take my
I'm
650."
go. And honestly, he wins. Well, he doesn't really win. He loses, but
Right? Yeah, yeah. Hope
I
it was
don't
worth
know.
it.
I could, dude, Charlie, I'm gonna be honest with you. I could not live with myself like that. I
No
don't know,
chance. Yeah, that
dude.
was.
You literally there hit very next player is a young lady in her 20s that literally said like this could be life-changing money. It hurt me. Like it physically hurt to watch that. Like
Yeah,
I just and I'm no angel or saint, but I could never do that to another human being. Never. Like no. So yeah, it's going to be interesting how that plays out. And then we're going
yeah.
to be I guess it next is the next to last
I
episode.
think. I think that. I think that they'll vote out the player three and player two immediately down to eight.
Yeah.
Then I don't think you can hold player one's 100 against her. She did exactly
No.
the honorable thing. So at that after that point, I think it's a free for all. Those eight will truly be, you know,
Bribing.
I wonder would player one would she throw a few thousand to someone who got shortchanged a little bit just to kind of help them out if someone wants to go home? Like
I can really see that happening actually.
it'll be
And it
interesting to see.
so
Or
do you think
will
maybe JC have some redemption maybe and
I see?
fix it?
I don't think JC does.
I don't think he gives a
I
shit.
could see player two maybe feeling a little bad. Maybe he gives a. I think both of them would just know it. They're screwed either way. They're just gonna take their money and go.
What do you
But at the
think
same
about the
time, player two could have taken 900 and didn't.
What do you think? What's your thought on the argument that I was just doing it for my family?
Mm, you know what's is I'll go one step further. When he brought everybody in to give that speech, I did not like that at all. To me, it felt like he was blowing up other people's games to try to take the attention off of what he did.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
thought that made it even worse.
It's what a 2-year-old does, honestly.
Yeah.
I didn't like that at all. Sorry, I'm adjusting here.
Yeah.
There we go.
So now he
Um,
thinks he puts Patrick's game on the spot, but Patrick took $0. He doesn't have any money to bribe anybody, but it's gonna be hard to
Patrick,
vote him out when he
I
did the most honorable thing.
I wouldn't vote Patrick out. No, no.
He
You
was the only one who
can't.
was smart enough to think that something could be based off your decision, and he
And
purposefully
that's not
knew
enough
that.
to kick him off. Well, what is that? I mean, that's
Yeah,
just. I mean,
it'll
I
be
mean,
interesting because two of the other eight have to go. I'm
but
gonna go as
JC,
far as to
I would
say
vote
two and
JC out immediately.
yeah, JC and then the other guy I'd say are mortal locks. I
They
mean,
they got their money already. Like, what do they
yeah,
need more money?
unless a
No.
few of the people who didn't have a chance for more at the end, he says I'll give you 10, give you three 10K each.
We'll
Maybe they
see
do
how it
it.
plays out.
Maybe they think they'll just then they vote him out the next time. So
Crazy to me. Like I don't think I've had such a visceral reaction watching a reality show like that in quite some time.
I
But
know,
let's talk about the amount of money being thrown around on this show is incredible. Like
crazy.
Amazon is like
That 1 million for the same challenge was what the next prize was in the app for the viewers too. So,
that
well,
is
speaking of, you
insane.
can get another entry right
Oh
now.
yeah, we could do that. um but it's crazy that, I mean, I guess it means something. The most money ever in reality TV. And speaking of a lot of money in reality TV, they just announced this week that they're filming as we speak, Squid Games: The Challenge 2, which I'm going to say straight up, I did not get called for at all. I guess they didn't want the big guy, well, soon to be no longer big guy, um,
Or
hurting
maybe they're like,
himself.
this guy's been on 6 shows already. We'll let
Five.
him get Beast Games.
I don't want to say six again because I screwed up. It's five. Thank you, Mike. Mike's listening. Like, you were on six. I'm like, no, five. No, but I'm not going to announce which show, but I did apply. You know which one, but I
Yes.
just did apply for a show, so we'll see what happens. Um, I'm always looking for the next one. So speaking of the next one, um, uh, deal
Or No
or
Deal
no
Island.
deal? Holy. crap.
That was
Holy crap.
that was wild. We had a wild one. They
It
made up for some of the other lackluster ones.
There was a challenge. So the show starts off with a challenge, and the idea of the challenge is they have to vote on who a scale. There's like tiles. They have to remove these tiles and decide on who is the most
Biggest threat.
threatening and the least threatening. And of course, Big Brother Will, everyone's favorite contestant, not, is throwing himself out there as a threat. I'm a threat. I'm a threat. I'm a threat. I'm a threat. Well played because he knew what he was doing. And of course, so they decide on the order that's done in secret, and then they have giant targets with their face on it. One of them, of course, is our buddy Philip. Shout out Philip. Hi Philip. Again, we are family. Always a we are family. It's all about us. We have family connection. And they have to throw these axes at the target they think is either the highest or the lowest. And our buddy Philip goes. He doesn't have a great throw the first round. Second round, he gets a target, so he at least has a chance to be safe or not. The biggest threat, of course, is Will, and so Will votes gets the or acts actually closest on his own face, and he gets immunity. And then he gets to decide who gets to play the banker. So there's a lot. So Will doesn't like what's her name? I forget her name.
Yeah.
Dix, the one that he thought Dixon was going to go after.
Yeah,
he,
exactly.
he he doesn't like a contestant, and so Dixon's like, you know what? I'll take her out if I'm selected to play the banker. So Dixon, I'll give you a little background on Dixon. Dixon plays online reality TV games. I know people that know him, so he is no schlub. He likes the challenge. So he's like campaigning to play against the banker, and sure enough, Will picks him to play against the banker. And Dixon proceeds to have the most masterful playing against a banker I have ever seen on this show.
It's a little easy when you pick the highest case and then just say no to everything.
It is, but what's interesting about that is that he's left with the two highest cases at the end. I will tell you this, Charlie, when he got to the point where he had an offer that was lower than like three of the cases,
Yeah.
I was like, take it, the odds, the math, take it. And I would have lost. I would have lost. What were you're the math guy. What were you thinking?
No, I think he actually did play the math the right way.
You
I
said
think that
that.
yeah, I think the offer was good, but the odds were 3 out of 4 that he had a higher case than the offer originally. I think that he's too smart to turn down a bad offer. Now, at the end, it's a simple you 50-50 coin toss, so you might as well go for the higher amount. It's extra 700,000, I think it was, based off that. So
So he basically he decided to keep his case at the end, and he said no to every offer, like you said, and he had the $5 million. He
yep,
added
they
five
needed that bad.
million dollars to the pot, which is huge.
It went from like what 561,000 to 5.5, just like
Yes,
that.
just like that. Now, for our viewers who may not have seen season one, you don't get that guaranteed. That's just becomes the total becomes an amount and a case at the
I-
final
Into the
banker.
prize pool, yeah.
Right, right. So it's still hard to win that. I'll say that. It's
Yeah,
not.
but that number is going to keep growing. It's going to up all the offers in that one
That's
too.
true. That's
So,
exactly right.
and then not to be outdone, the episode ends with him going against his word to Dr. Will.
Can we say that this was brilliant? What
Yeah,
happens?
he takes out Storm.
He takes out the strongest guy in the game. Well, I mean, physically anyway. He takes
Well,
out
he could
a
have taken out
romance.
one slightly stronger, but it's his homie.
Right. Yeah, the
He let
Australian
David live.
survivor. But this, I
It was a
didn't
good
want to
play.
think about it because they kept talking about the showmance, the showmance, the showmance, the showmance, and I'm like, why are they talking so much about? I should have known better.
Yeah.
It's because this is where it was headed.
And Will seems upset about it, but he talks earlier in the episode about how he doesn't like the showman. So I think he should be fine with it if he takes a step back.
Knowing, listen, I've been watching Will for 20 years on reality TV and Big Brother All Stars. I'll say this. The reason why Will was upset is because Will realized he could not control Dixon. That
Yeah, it
Dixon
wasn't
was
his
like,
move.
mm-mm,
Yeah.
you're not playing my game. And that's why Will is upset because Will likes to kind of think about how he controls everybody. And when he doesn't have control over one, his whole thought process goes crazy. Like it's like malfunction, like a robot. That's kind of
Yeah.
Dixon surprised the heck out of me. Wow.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is watching the whole banker segment. Storm is excited, rooting for him, going crazy, and sorry,
Which
bro.
is interesting because in the challenge, Dixon was throwing his axe at Storm's thing anyway. So maybe Storm should have thought about that.
Storm went out. The storm has passed.
Storm was brewing.
Storm brewed and passed. Man. Speaking of storms brewing and passing, I my I need to work on those. Um, I was just in New York, like I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast. I had a chance to film commercial number two, which was awesome. And I extended this stay for a day and I got to go to City Field. I'm gonna give you some information that's you might be shocked at. That was only my second time ever at City Field.
Wow.
Ever.
So before that time, we were tied 1-1.
We were.
That's
Um,
crazy.
isn't it? I'm a Met
That's
fan.
crazy.
Crazy.
I actually can't believe that.
I knew you would say that. But yes, that
Wow.
I actually did the first time I actually saw a game. I was on
So
near the
we're
field.
still tied in game scene at City Field.
Correct. And the last time I went to a game, well, the only other time I went to a game at City Field, Michael Conforto was still on the team. So that kind of gives you an idea because he was in
Wow.
the outfield. Yeah, it was 8 years ago. It was
So
eight
you went
years
more
ago.
recently than me.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so Shea Stadium, by the way, all the time. I was always big at Shea Stadium. I love Shea Stadium. My dad used to take me. Rest in peace, Dad. But yeah, so I went to City Field in 20-degree weather. That was cold, and I went to Amazing Day at City Field. Went to the Amazing Memorabilia store. Bought my raffle ticket. Won a
But you
Sterling Marte
won.
baseball signed base.
Shocking. Tim wins
Not
another sweepstakes
not just
raffle.
not just not just a oh, Erica wants me to get the stuff out of the closet. No, it's okay, honey. It's all right. I put it all in a closet. No, no, it's okay. It's okay. She's all right. It's okay. She's like she's excited as I am. I want a Sterling Marte signed baseball. Not just a Sterling Marte signed baseball. It's a Sterling Marte signed City Connect baseball with the NYC on it and
Oh man.
I got really bargain Brett Beatty shirts because for those of you that don't know, Brett Beatty gave, well, I don't know, willingly or not, Juan Soto his number, and so they're selling all the old Brett Beatty. So $5 Brett Beatty shirts. I got like old playoff, like I got a playoff hat, the Dodgers and Mets for the NLCS. And for a dude like me who lives in Florida who doesn't get to go shopping, I was having a ball.
Loaded up.
Loaded up. But that wasn't even the best part. The best part was going in the player tunnels at City Field, going, to the locker room, going, just going behind the scenes,
Getting
and then
Bobby
just,
Valentine as one of your autograph tickets.
man, oh my God. Before that, I'm literally walking down the hallway and Edwin, Edwin. I'm like, what the hell? Edwin Diaz is like zooming right by. I'm like, oh my God. So I get my picture out. I take a picture of his back. And then, so I already have my camera out at this point. I'm like, wait, stuff is happening. And then 2 seconds later, Sterling Marte. I'm like, chick, chick, taking pictures. It was just amazing. The access to the players, it was just really cool to have. And then, like you said, I went online. So what the autograph, it was an autograph tent and it was pretty organized. There was 4 stations, so it was almost like the Wizard of Oz. You were told, okay, go in line two, go in line one. They would randomly kind of put you in a line. I went in line two, and you were in this wraparound like in an amusement park line, and you get up to the curtain, and once you get, it's a black curtain, and they open a curtain, like you can go ahead. Once you get in there, then you see who you have. And so I was thinking all the time, I'm like, oh, I'm going to get four good players. Let's see. And as I'm standing out there, I see Mark Vientos go in there. I see Bobby Valentine go in there. I see Cleon Jones go in there. Cleon Jones, of course, 1969 Mets, classic player. Bobby Valentine, amazing manager, of course. Uh, the story with Bobby Valentine is he was literally kicked out of a game and he came back in a disguise. It's so epic. I love Bobby Valentine.
The
Bobby
best. He's
V,
hilarious.
it's awesome. And he is exactly that character. So I the curtain opens and it's freaking Bobby V right in front of me. I'm like, sir. Oh, I get my poster out, I get it signed. I'm like, thank you so much, sir. I'm such a fan of yours. I was always a fan of yours. He goes, you were? I'm like, no, I am. And so, we have this little, little 2 second, I'm the fanboy, so I'm excited. And then the next person was a relief pitcher, I think, that I don't even know his name, but it wasn't any of the, it was a newer pitcher that we just got. Um, what was his name? Anyway, I forget. I
Yeah, sounds awesome though.
dude, it was a great, it's just a great day. Um, it made me miss baseball, like
Yeah, we're getting close, right around the corner.
pitches and catches are reporting soon.
Yeah, two
Um,
weeks about.
so we have some interesting things that happened at actually Amazing Day. It happened. Steve Cohen, I wasn't in the room for this. It was happened early in the day. My ticket was later in the day. Steve Cohen and David Stearns addressed fans and some media that were there, and the question was brought up: what is happening with Pete Alonso? What's happening in the negotiations? And David Stearns, does the canned response: "Oh, we love Pete. We want to have Pete back." But Steve Cohen, a little less filtered, we'll say, I could say, and he literally said, "You know what? These talks, the negotiation has been extremely frustrating." He goes, "Juan Soto was tough. This is tougher." Um, he says, we'd like to have Pete back, but as we fill up the roster with more and more players, it becomes less possible. And I knew when he was saying what he was saying that he was talking directly to Alonso and Boris, without a
Yeah,
doubt. Because the news comes out later on that Monday or Tuesday. Pete Alonso said to Scott Boris, "I don't care what you do, I need to get back with the Mets." And so that is his objective. That's why my confidence level of him returning went way back up, because I think if Pete wants it, he's gonna get it. And
yeah.
I don't see any other options for him. I think this is the best plan is to sign a short term deal, and we've talked about this before.
So
Sign a
are you
short
saying
term.
you went from optimistic to baby diapers back to optimistic?
Oh, you have to throw the baby diapers in there.
Say it one more
Yes.
time. You
Yeah,
said.
no, it's fine. I don't mind. But yeah,
Remember,
I did.
I remember, I recall you
Oh
posting
God.
a bunch of cards saying you were ready to sell them all, something like that, maybe.
God, you love this, don't you? You love this. I remember last year in that April podcast where I said the Mets are doomed, and you love. All right, I'll give it to you. You're
And then
right.
they
You're
went to the
right.
NLCS. That's right. Oh, yeah, I forgot.
No, you didn't forget. You don't forget nothing. You one thing about you, buddy. You don't forget a thing. Never.
Steel trap.
No, you absolutely. You're an elephant, man. You don't forget nothing. You don't forget anything. But it's true though. My confidence level definitely rose when I heard. I'm not fully there yet. There's a lot that can still kind of happen, but Boomer Esiason, who is Jets legend, I guess you
Well
want to call it,
connected. Well
or no,
connected.
Giants legend. He's well connected. He is saying, and he's in sports reporting. He is saying he sees Pete Alonso possibly tomorrow as a Met. So I think a deal is close. That's what, because
So
what I
you are going to
understand
be
is
all alert, set, ready to go.
I'm ready. But apparently Steve Cohen himself got right back into the negotiations. So I think it's going to happen. I also think, I think the fans were pretty expressive about it. And I want to say this because, I listen to a lot of New York sports radio, and I listen to a lot of New York podcasts. Shout out Meet at the Apple, great podcast. It's actually a New York Mets podcast, so they don't really get into this stuff because they're a team run podcast. But I will say this. Some of the podcast hosts, and I don't know if you're familiar with Sal from New York Post, um, they were saying something along the lines of, "How dare these fans boo Stearns this is on Boris and Pete." And I say this to say this. I say that to say this. I should say they weren't booing because they haven't signed Pete. This is why I think they were booing. They were booing because the backup plan that they have in place, or supposed in place, of Brett Beatty and Mauricio filling that void, and that's what I kept hearing while I was in New York, is not the plan. And that's what fans are upset about because David Stearns himself said, well, we have these young guys kind of coming up. That should not be the answer. This, and I know we've talked about this, but honestly, this is not the Milwaukee Brewers. This is a larger market. We shouldn't be having, I understand he's successful with that. Don't get me wrong. But when there are other options that we could go through, why are we doing that? Why are we kind of Brett Beatty? I love him, and you know this because I've talked about Brett before. He's had two or three shots at the majors already that he kills it in AAA. He homer, homer, homer. He's great. Don't get me wrong. He kills it in AAA. The minute he gets up to the majors, his fielding is awful. His hitting is suffering. He cannot contain himself. I don't know if it's nerves, a lack of confidence. I don't know what's going on, but how much of that can we afford? And that's my concern. Now, Mauricio, I can't really talk about because he had a season of injury, so I don't know kind of where he's at in his development. I will say Mark Vientos, it took a while to kind of blossom, but Beatty is no
You got Acuna too.
Vientos.
They got some good options.
I think Acuna is a great option to kind of have there. I don't know if he's kind of ready yet. We'll see. I think he played well in the end of the last season. And like you said, they have options. It's just, I just want to say that, I don't think this, and, New York fans, we've talked about this too. New York is the hardest market to be a player in because the fans and the press are relentless. They
Mm-hmm.
are relentless. But I don't think, I'm not often to defend them, but they were not booing the fact that he hadn't signed Pete. I even know, right? And I don't boo. I don't believe in booing. I think it's stupid. But I even know though that him not, even though I was baby diapers, him not signing Pete is not really about him not signing Pete. At the end of the day, I understand it's a business and it has to be make sense. The transaction has to make sense. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, the emotions of the fans, I get that too. But in the same vein that it's a business, you literally cannot, and I'm not saying Pete is a Mercedes, for example, but you can't go and sell a Mercedes and then get someone else's Mercedes and then tell them here's a Corolla and say equivalent. It's not.
Better gas mileage.
It's not. It's just not. And that's what gets people upset because it's almost like you're trying to mess with their intelligence, like they're not smart enough to see it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so anyway, let's kind of breach that subject real quick. So what's new in Cubs land? What's new in Wrigleyville?
That's actually Cubs made a couple more moves the last couple of
Yeah.
weeks. They finally seem to have gotten an answer at closer. They traded for Ryan Presley, who was was a huge part of that Astros playoff runs in 2018 to 2022,
He
and was
joins
their
his buddy.
closer until they brought in Hader. So
So what are your thoughts on Presley? I mean, you just said that, but how do you think he's going to fit in your clubhouse?
I think that he will close at least 50% of the time at
That's
minimum.
pretty.
So I think it's a win for him. He gets a chance to close again before becoming a free agent next year, and he can show that he still got it. And I think the best thing about it is the mentorship he'll have to the other guy who could share closer duties, a young Cubs prospect, Porter Hodge, who looked
Porter
very,
Hodge.
very good in the role last year. But you don't want Love to throw a second year guy into your closer's role right away. So having a veteran to fall back on is a nice thing.
So let me ask you one question I've been thinking about when thinking about the Cubs, and because I come from a different universe with the Mets. Obviously, it's a different owner, and Cubs are, love the Cubs, and I am curious about this. Do you wonder can your club, can your front office, can your ownership, can they somehow make it happen where it's not just a stopping ground for these players and that there's some long-term contracts being
That's
signed because
that's the hope. The hope is that Kyle Tucker will be that guy. I think that a lot of these front offices are truly worried about something we briefly talked about last time, and it's that possible strike season. And they don't want to put out these huge dollar amounts when there's going to be possibly a season of no play. So we'll
does it
see.
make it harder is a question for you too. Does it make it harder for clubs like the Cubs that are in mid markets and
They
even though
should. I mean, it shouldn't be. Chicago's in the third largest market
I
in the
know this,
sport,
right?
but I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean,
When you have New York and Los Angeles, for example.
yeah, Yankees, Mets, Dodgers are in maybe we'll say a 1A tier, and then you put maybe Chicago in a 1B.
Hmm.
But they should still have. I mean, the Cubs were a revenue paying team last year. Just barely went over the tax, which was kind of dumb to do. That's neither here nor there, but they did. And every season that they haven't been in a clear rebuild, they've been a roughly top 4 to 8. Even one of the years they were second or third, but they've been a pretty high. It's not like they're not spending; they just need to spend a little more wisely. So you're seeing them
I,
pick up a lot of guys on 1 year deals this year with while still staying under the tax. So they could still have another couple moves in them. We'll see, but I'm feeling pretty good about the roster.
I can see why. I mean, definitely. And I actually said to you, we were talking about how I could see the Mets and the Cubs in the postseason. I think that may very possibly happen. If I put my Cubs fan hat on, if I pretend that I'm in Chicago like you, and I guess the frustration is there for me as a Cubs fan to say when I see the Dodgers, for example, not as much as the Mets or Yankees. The Dodgers are probably at the top right now with what they're doing. They sign player after player after player. It gets ridiculous,
Yeah,
ridiculous. It's so frustrating, bro. It's almost like they're cheating at the game where nobody else has a chance to play.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're
Hmm.
like they're taking all the money in Monopoly and they're not everyone else is like left with
Yeah. Well, they have the cheat code in Otani. I mean, that alone.
that's a Japanese cheat code. I mean,
I mean, when
listen,
you have a guy who's making 50 plus million a year in endorsements, he can easily defer 98% of his contract. So,
and
I
he's
mean,
going
when
to
you get
attract
one,
other Japanese players, to be
yeah, and
honest.
not only that, but you're getting the best player in the game at a virtual zero cost. So you're easily being able to make the team that much better. So,
I asked you that question because let's say you guys didn't sign Kyle Tucker. Like, I mean, you didn't kind of get him from Houston. What would have happened? Would they have kept Bellinger? Like,
probably, yeah, I think they probably would have, and they would have looked to improve the roster in other areas.
mhm,
But when a guy like Tucker's available, sometimes you just got to move mountains.
100%. I think I mean, I don't think that, and I know you will agree that was the number one move the Cubs made absolutely
Oh
in the
yeah, no
offseason, without a
question.
doubt. He's not only gonna win games for you guys, he's going to sell tickets. I
Yeah,
mean,
and
not that the
not
Cubs
only
need
that, but
people that
now
sell
they picked up a
tickets.
former teammate of his in Presley, with a little
Yeah.
more familiarity, so that's nice.
Maybe another teammate? Do you think they would sign
Possibly,
Bregman?
they're still in the. I still think I'd be surprised, but I'd be happy to be surprised.
I'd be happy for you if they sign Bregman. I think that would be huge. Who's your
Yeah,
current third baseman?
it's assuming Nico's healthy on opening
A
day.
Horner.
No, no, no. Nico will be at second, but assuming
Oh,
Nico's
okay.
healthy, it will be Matt Shaw.
Oh, Matt Shaw.
If Nico's not healthy, Shaw could be at second. So
What's going on with Nico Horner?
he had off-season surgery on his shoulder. He's probably
Okay.
not going to be ready in time for the Dodgers series in Japan, which is 2 weeks before the actual regular season. It's not they're not exactly sure when he'll be ready. It's possible he's not ready for opening day. So
That's
there's that.
amazing. I
Yeah,
had to, you know, he's a young guy. You wonder kind of shoulder surgery. Wow. Um, but yeah, I think like 3 or 4 years ago when I was a fan of his, I was following Alex Bregman. He had hand surgery or something. So yeah, I mean, it happens to all of them.
yeah.
I listen, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for the Cubs. I would be real excited if we have an NLCS that is Mets and Cubs and the Dodgers
And no
somehow
Dodgers. Yeah.
not in it. Oh man. Ooh. This
I
would be
mean,
some
it's certainly
podcast.
possible.
We've seen create it's baseball. Anything's
Yeah,
possible in
anything can
baseball.
happen in a 5 game series in the NLDS. So
Absolutely. You shared with me a funny meme. If guys in the football fans are like after one loss, we'll be there
uh,
next week. We'll
oh,
see
we
what
lost. We'll get
happens.
them next game. Yep. And the MLB
Baseball's
fan losing
100
one
and
game in 162. What the? You son of a! You bringing this guy in the seventh inning serving up meatballs? What is this, Subway? What is it, a sub shop?
I
Yeah,
love that. Oh
that's
my
all.
god, that's awesome. Yeah, you literally just sound like a Met fan.
Yeah,
Not
I
me.
heard
I'm
that, and
not
I'm
like
like,
that.
Tim needs to hear this one.
That's hilarious. So yeah, that is what's going around the league. Oh, is there anything else I guess we should talk about this real quick too. Oh, Super Bowl, Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, we can talk about that next week. It's not this weekend.
No, but you know, the last we spoke, we were hoping that the Bills would defeat
Yeah,
the Chiefs.
you mean
Yeah,
the
the
refs?
refs. I was just gonna say
Yeah,
the same thing, dude.
can't say that we're surprised.
You even said it. You said it the week before. You're like, if the Bills can beat the refs, man, dude. There was one play. Let's talk about it real quick, dude. If you drop the ball, you drop the damn ball. Like, what the hell?
I was about to
That
say
cost them the
which
game,
play are you
bro.
going to talk about?
The
How
one
about
where
the
that
first
cost them the
down?
fourth down.
Yeah,
Oh my
and how
God,
about the first
dude.
down that Buffalo had on the sneak? They had it on the play before. On the third down play, they misspotted it. A lot happened in that game. That was pretty questionable.
So yeah, I've been very sad. And I will fly, Eagles fly, root
Fly,
for
Eagles, fly. Let's go, Eagles.
Philadelphia. I cannot
Got to get Barkley and Hurts
stand
their first
the
ring.
Chiefs. The Chiefs and Mahomes and ugh, ugh, ugh. You know what's interesting? Yeah, if what's his name's brother stayed in it, it would have been brother versus brother again.
Yeah, Kelsey.
Kelsey, Jason Kelsey. Um, yeah, well, whatever. I'm not watching it, so you'll give us a recap because I'm not baby diapers. Not watching it.
Well, you can at
No.
least watch for the commercials.
Yeah, I guess. Anything else you want to mention, bro?
No, I think we covered it.
Oh, all right. This has been Around the Bases, pop culture and sports podcast with your host,
Charlie Seymour.
and I'm Baby Diapers. Until next week, we will see you.
Have a good one, baby diapers.
Bye.